Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, mother. With Nery Saenz. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal!
Steph, anie Meyer-Senior.
Yeah, I don't have to look for you.
Oh, no.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
And Mike Mercadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done!
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the What's Up, Bro podcast, the only show asking the question, "What's up, bro?" My name's Mike Mercadal. It's the only one, the only one out there. It's proven, factual. Mike Mercadal. Hello, everybody. With me, as always, is
Nery Saenz, the
Nery Saenz.
other person asking, "What's up, bro?" That's not a Filipino preacher.
Oh, I'm getting the weird sound thing again.
Like
a
digital fart?
With the digital farts, bro. We're getting digital farts, unfortunately.
So I'll try to exit and then come back in, see if it's me or you.
It might be me. It might be you. We'll see what happens. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in as we do this for the first time. Like we haven't been doing it for a million years already. How's everybody doing? Just vibes alone. Like, what's up out there? You know, like, what are people reacting to? The idea. Nary dropped out. Hello. So now that it's just us, things are tricky out there. If you're watching this live, hey, get in the comments. We're going to be talking about lots of stuff. We're going to try to avoid the current state of the world and talk about little things that we enjoy in terms of comfort, right? Like, what are we watching out there that is giving us comfort, that is helping us soothe our brains? What are we watching out there that's distracting us from the world? Where do we escape in our fantasy worlds? Share them in the comments. We're going to be sharing our comfort watches if we can figure out technical difficulties.
Is it still doing it?
Yes, it is. Let me drop out, and then you take
Yeah,
it.
I think it's gonna be you. So I'll vent for a minute.
Go vent.
I'll vent for a minute. So I was watching. I've been doing a lot of watching on TV, and it's so funny because my disconnection to the world as far as entertainment, suddenly, I don't know how, but it's become very serious. It's, while I love a good sitcom and I love, lately I've been watching shows that are on a darker, more serious tone, which is odd for me. And Mike is back. There you go. Is it still doing it?
Still the farts. Still the farts. I wonder what it is.
Let me see if I change. Hold on. Let me see if I change the sound.
Because
it wasn't doing it for me before.
I know. If you're watching this, I see there's some people watching. Are you hearing digital farts as we're talking?
Did it change? I changed the settings on the microphone for me.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It changed? It worked?
Yeah, that's better. I'm not hearing anything. What was it? Just
I changed the setting. I remember I told you. Let me see if I change this. Does that make a difference? No?
I mean, it only... No? Yeah, you're fine now. Okay, great.
I'm fine now. Okay. All right. Hey, man, technology. I'm in Puerto Rico right now. Out my window is Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico? What country is that?
A garbage one. Listen.
All right, Tony Hinchcliffe. You know what? Who's to say this isn't thank Trump for saving your software. Every piece of software now belongs you. All glory to God Emperor Trump. Did you see that?
Or hail? Or all hail, you mean?
Heil?
Heil? Listen, man, I don't even want to get into politics. The world is ending. We get it, but we're here to have fun with it. What have you been watching? What have you been your comfort watches?
Okay, like the idea that it's one of these things. The people playing the music on the Titanic as it goes down. We just okay. Have you seen the show Severance?
Okay, so that's what I was talking about too. When you left, I was saying that lately the shows that I've been watching, even though I love sitcoms and I love comedies, I don't know why, it just happens to coincide with I'm now watching darker shows, and I just wrapped season 1 of Severance last night. So I started watching it last week. I started watching the show last week. I told myself, because it was such a, I don't want to say heavy, but because it was such a darker show, I told myself I'm only going to watch one episode a night. and it's only 9 episodes in the first season, so whatever.
Right? Yeah, you make it through pretty quickly. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, why not?
So then I did that, and then last night was the last episode of the first season, and it was so great. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And as somebody who has like my entire life before comedy was office jobs, I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I like whoever wrote this has been in many office jobs. Like it's
Not
just-
only that, like there's so much. God, for if you haven't seen the show, I don't want to spoil anything. But
yeah, we can't because season 2 just started now.
season 2. Okay, so technically anything season 1 is spoiler free territory. We're not with the what is it? The statute of limitations is
It's an
over?
Apple TV. It's an Apple TV show, so 14 people have watched it.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
we can't really spoil it.
That was like a phenomenon when it came out because of COVID, because of all of the fact that people were home watching it. That people were home, they were just watching random stuff, and that was. I remember when that show came out, it felt so. I felt smart watching it. Like I was like interesting, like because I was like I see what it's like force fed to you. It's like clever in a way that's very obvious. But I was watching it, I was like, this is what satire is, like talking about the anie, the anie lifestyle.
I think what plays to that feeling of you feeling smart is because you know things that the other characters don't.
Yes, there's a lot of that separation.
There's a lot of that separation, and then you as an audience member are privy to information that the characters don't know, or that not all characters know. So you feel like you have this one up there, which is the reverse of what I normally like. I normally like, for example, the movie War of the Worlds does this very well, where there's nothing that you, the audience, knows before Tom Cruise.
Yes,
you guys we're finding it out together, right?
Yeah, we're finding it out together.
And Severance is the opposite. Severance is like, we're gonna tell you shit, and you're gonna know, and then so you're gonna know who his wife is, but he's not gonna know who his wife is, and so that's gonna be a thing.
If you haven't watched the show, what you're saying makes no sense. But if you're like that it's so well constructed. I was watching it with my wife. And with Chiquita gives shows a chance, and then she's like, there's like 2 shows that I can tell you that she starts and maybe she's not in the right mindset. Like you have to be in the right mindset for
correct. Yeah.
This is one of those shows. It was like that with she fell in love with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but she tried to start it like twice. Like she fell in love with that show. Other opinions exist. You know that, right? Like,
yes. My opinion is blech. What? I can't. My opinion can exist. You're saying let me live, Mike. Let me have my own opinion.
But let the process happen. It's like this is one of my least favorite things what people do in the world of food. The second somebody's eating something, like I'm actively eating something, and people are like, ugh, ew.
No, I don't. See, that's rude. That's rude on a different. That's not the same thing. You're not comparing apples to apples, and that's rude. I would never do that.
I just said a thing that somebody enjoyed, and then you'd be
like,
but
we're not eating. Eating is a different. Eating when you're ingesting something, and somebody gives that thing, you're like, I'm like literally processing it right now. I'm not going up to Chiquita as she's watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and getting up to her and be like, blech,
you watching this bullshit?
I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm doing. We're talking about it after the fact. So if you said to me, hey man, I eat Hawaiian pizza, right? And I go, blech, which I wouldn't because I love Hawaiian pizza, but my just give a hot topic one.
Sure,
if somebody were to say to me, hey man, I was eating Hawaiian pizza last night, and I go, blech, that's not the same thing as doing that while they're eating it. It's not the same thing.
You don't think so? I think that there's an aspect of like when someone's talking about something they enjoy, the last thing I want to do is to shit on it immediately. Like let the sentence finish. let me get to the end.
I have a strong gag reflex towards Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's all it is.
Why do you hate women so much?
Well, we could let's count the ways, really. I mean, you want this in alphabetical order, you want this in a chronological manner. No, I actually, it's so funny that you say that because it was the exact opposite of obviously the truth, but so much so that I started watching 3 days ago. I started watching Mad Men for the first time. Have never seen Mad Men.
Okay.
And I bought the series because it was on sale like a couple months ago on Black Friday. I think it was on sale on Apple TV. On iTunes, it was on sale for $20 for the whole series. And I'm like, I'll spend $20.
For Mad Men?
I'm
For all,
yeah,
for the whole thing?
the whole series, the whole thing.
Great.
So I was like, yeah, I'll spend $20. It's fine. I've never seen the show, but I've heard great things about it. And I started watching it. I'm 3 episodes in, and I don't know if I could finish the show because they're so degrading to women.
Oh,
And they're doing an accurate portrayal of the 1960s workplace. But it's so bad that it's causing a visceral reaction from me. And I'm like, Don Draper's the guy that everybody loves. This guy's a piece of shit. Like, I'm just immediately I'm getting the same Carrie from Sex and the City vibes. I'm like, you're the main character and everybody loves you. Why does everybody love this? This woman is awful. I feel the same way about Don Draper. I'm like, I hate everything about the way they're treating women. Everything in the first 3 episodes. Yeah.
Do you think so this is I started watching. I have not been able to watch all of Mad Men. That's another show that Chiquita loves. But I think more for the style. Like, it's just like, again, it's stylized, fictionalized reality. Like, it's not the real thing. But like, it was like the idea is it was worse than that. The reality.
Yeah.
The reality is that it was worse than that. So when they show all of this stuff in these shows, it's already softened, and for you to be hating the guy already, I think is that not the maybe that's the point, you know? Like,
that's what I'm saying. I can't. It's hard for me to stomach that. First of all, I hate watching that. Misogyny really bothers me. Like, blatant misogyny like that really bothers me to watch.
Get
because
ready for a rough next couple of years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I was gonna say it's rough watching. Like, if you watch The Last Duel, I don't know if you've ever seen The Last Duel. It's a phenomenal movie, but it's full of misogyny because it takes place in the medieval times and all this whatever. Yeah. But that's a 2.5-hour movie, and you're in it. You're dealing with these feelings of like uncomfortable, like and anger and like and just like you piece of shit, you whatever, for 2.5 hours. It's I think it's the injustice of it all that really gets me, right, and the illogic part of it really gets me. But watching Don Draper for 3 episodes for 3 hours, I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this for 8 seasons. I don't think I'm gonna be able to watch this show.
That's the thing I think people don't really like in terms of the amount of time you spend with a character, right? Like, there's more Daredevil on television than there has been Robert Downey Jr. in movies as Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of hours of television, including the Netflix series, The Defenders, all of that stuff. Like, if you think about 3 seasons of Daredevil, and there's gonna be another one.
Those seasons are short, right? 10 episodes.
Not necessarily, but each one of them is an hour. So right, that's 10 hours of Daredevil. 10 times 3, that's 30 hours of Daredevil. You know what I mean? Like, that's
were there 3 episodes? Were there 3 seasons of Daredevil? I thought there was only 2. Were there 3?
No, there's 3. I'm catching up now because the new season of the trailers for Daredevil Born Again dropped. That look like bonkers good. I'm like excited for it. Showing lots of bones breaking on Disney Plus, which is interesting. He is destroying people. He is Batman Arkham games, video games level violent in this one, where he's like, I'm the good guy. Meanwhile, he's like putting people into a coma and paralyzing them for life. You know, like he's like, I'm the hero. It looks great, but there are 3 seasons.
You were jaywalking. Click, 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 click.
Good luck walking when I break your spine. But it's true. But like, there's more of TV characters in certain contexts, like than there are of like the big marquee characters in movies. I'm sorry I'm clearing my throat so much. I'm in LA and the air quality is trash. We've been dealing with it for a while now. But yeah, so like when you watch like 5 seasons of Breaking Bad, you're with Walter White that whole time. But you take like an iconic movie character that people like are like love, you're with that guy for like what feels like nothing, you know? Like,
right.
Like how many like Michael Corleone. How much time are you spending with Michael Corleone versus how much time are you spending with Steve Urkel? How much more camera time
even
does
less
Steve
even less
Urkel
is
have?
even less is Vito Corleone. There's so he's like in that movie so little. It's so weird.
Yeah, but like we have spent more time in our lives with Zach Morris than we have of of Scarface or any of these other like cultural icon movies. And then it's like, yeah, I've seen Screech more. Like I've spent more time with Screech.
Yeah.
I don't get.
But
So
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish the Mad. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this. Like it's gonna take a little bit for me to finish fucking Mad Men. It's infuriating, dude. It's infuriating when he tells his wife that she's shaking, her hands are shaking so much so that she got into a car accident with the children, and she says, "I went to the doctor and the doctor said that I might have to go to a therapist because there's nothing physically wrong with me, so I might have to go to a therapist." And he was like, "That's bullshit. You're happy." And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay. And then he gets so mad at her because he bought her a watch. So you should be even happier now because I fixed it. And she started to do the dishes. And then he says, and stop doing the dishes. Leave that for the girl, which is his fucking 5-year-old daughter. And I'm like, you're unlikable. Unlikable.
But it's also like, so think about how unlikable Don Draper is, and then think about how like everything was like that, and then think about how that's what people talk about when they God, I want to complain about politics so much right now that it's
but that's the whole thing. Like so that's why I'm just like, I don't want to watch. And then this girl, the whole show. Like, so the show, it's really well done, and people warned me beforehand about the slow. Like, it's a slow burn. I'm like, I have no problem with slow burns. I'm down with slow burns as long as the boom was worth it. I'm fine with it. But the misogyny is just overbearing, dude. It's just really
it's bad.
It's really,
and the thing is that
it's
like one of those things where like I've watched Schindler's List once. Like I don't want to watch. It's one of those things where it's like I fully understand how amazing all of this is, how vile. Well, I guess nobody's watching these movies and learning the right lessons because they're still Nazis. But like you learn how horrible things it need to be, like before people, like when someone's doing something good in a horrible situation, you learn all of these lessons and blah blah blah. But then and then it's like, so should you watch it again? I've never watched that movie again. I'll never see those things again because of how I do not want to feel those feelings unnecessarily.
Yeah, how difficult it is to watch, which is what I complained about when I saw the latest version of A Star Is Born. I said that movie was amazingly done. It was so fantastic. I'm never watching this shit ever again, ever. I would never put myself through that situation again. That was hard. That was just. I don't like feeling that feeling.
I never watched
that movie.
Star Is Born.
Yeah, Star Is Born with it was phenomenally done, well acted. Lady Gaga. It's phenomenally well acted. It was well written. Everything. It was great. If it would have won Best Picture of the year, I would have applauded it. I'm never watching that shit ever again. Never gonna watch it ever again.
There's certain movies that. What is the opposite of a comfort watch? A discomfort watch, where you know you're getting into it and you're just like, I don't want to deal with this.
Well, that's how. Yeah, go ahead.
This is an example of what you're talking about. This is the cover of Battleship, right? Dad and the son playing, isn't that lovely? And then you get to hold on, let me zoom in over here. What's this over here? Who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that doing the dishes in the background?
Oh, it's just the girls.
That's just the girls. That's literally what look at how guilty, look how happy that guy looks, not giving a fuck about his family. This is the way it was. Like that's just how things were marketed. It's crazy. I do not I don't get it. It's so hard.
And that was marketed that way by that was marketed that way by a madman.
Yeah, someone was like, nailed it. Get that guy a corner office. Get that.
Yeah.
Promote him.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, I will say this. I am stressed out. I'm angry. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to say I'm not. You know, like if people are like, "Oh, Mike, what's why are you so mad?" And then I just wave at everything and gesture broadly at people doing messed up salutes at the inauguration of a president. When like I put by and large as like what I keep coming back to, the world of Wall-E, where some big corporation just owns everything because that's kind of like the way it works. And then like it's the big corporation by and large just kind of in that movie, it's like really dystopian. Wall-E's like a dark ass movie if you think about how it gets to that. And then that's one of those movies where if I watch it now, I'll just be like, yep, this was predicting. This is setting us on our path. Somebody saw this and was like, yep, that's the goal. It's
same thing as Idiocracy, right? Somebody tweeted that recently, was like, "Oh, this is the beginning of Idiocracy. This is how Idiocracy starts."
I would challenge that. It's more like I would say it's more like Blade Runner, or someone. So I saw this tweet that I thought a lot. Maybe I'll take your perspective. It's like, man, we have like 7 Lex Luthors and not one Superman. And I was like,
we don't even have a Batman.
We don't even have a Batman.
Superman is impossible to get because we don't have, life on other planets. But Batman is possible. Batman's a billionaire.
Bro, I'm telling you, I feel like it's like this is in Big Daddy. You remember the movie Big Daddy? Adam Sandler, where they're like, we wasted the good surprise on you. I feel like we wasted billionaires on rich people. Like, if you made a poor person a billionaire that like just had a inkling of like that wasn't a total monster, and you gave them $1 billion to just not be a monster, like we would have like all these billionaires. It feels like such a waste of money on that one Batman.
It's kind of like the phrase. It's kind of like that phrase of like the youth is wasted on the young.
Yes,
it's
exactly
like
that.
Billionaires are wasted on the rich.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
It feels like like we're walking, like they're all just sitting there and they're just like because think about like what Elon Musk thinks he is, right? Like he thinks he's like this super genius, like revolutionary. If he wanted to, even if he is a racist piece of shit and he fucking hates people, even if he wants people to like him so bad, right? Like, I don't know if you saw the thing about him that he was like cheating at video games or something like that. Like he just wants to be cool so bad, but he does nothing of the things that people actually think is cool. Like if he was just cool, like if he just threw his money around in a cool way, he could do it. If he's like, hey, I didn't like the Hobbit movies. I'm going to pay $1 billion to have them remade. People would be like, yes. If he went Game of Thrones season 8, redo. We're just going to wipe that from existence, and we're just going to do that again. And I'm going to make HBO do it. It'd be like, yes. People would be up and like carrying that guy Rudy style on their shoulders. You know what I mean?
And then there's be one guy that goes, blech.
But yeah, and then that guy gets struck by lightning from the satellite, the Elon Musk satellite that is controlling our reactions. Did somebody block my doings?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
I was in the middle of talking about doing a remake, and you just bluffed me.
You just bluffed me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. There's one of my billionaire fantasies is to remake a video game from the 90s called Xenogears on PlayStation 1. That it's one of my favorite games of all time, but it never got finished properly. The second disc, like the disc 2, was like kind of this slapped together ending. It's like it's one of those things that happened in old school video games where they were just like, yeah, make a montage, and then if you had billions and you could remake any movie,
right? You had the money to buy the IP. You had the money to just like, hey, I'm gonna remake this shit. What movie would it be? Give me a 2 or 3 list of movies that you would remake if you just
If
had unlimited
Because
amount of money.
I would. So the thing is that there's certain movies that are not good that I feel could be good.
Sure.
And like if they could have been, and I can't think. I there's always comes up in the moment, and then I immediately forget about them because we've talked. Have we had this conversation before?
I think one of the movies that I would remake if I had an unlimited amount of money. First of all, No Retreat, No Surrender. We gotta remake that movie.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Gotta.
I
But
would
it's usually it's usually movies that are high in special effects that just the special effects weren't there at the time. They just weren't there. It's usually those are the movies that you go, oh yeah, we need to remake this because the special effects weren't there, right?
Yeah, interesting. You know what? There's like, it's hard because I think that like we could make a very good Conan movie, like, and make a good like remake Conan, like in a good way. I like I'm going through like
I don't know, man. Conan was pretty fucking great. The way it
original
is,
Conan,
dude.
yeah. And then it kind of falls off. So it's like hard because there's some movies that I feel like I want more of the same thing. But I don't really like, but it's hard because
they remade Dread, right, which was excellent. The remake was phenomenal. They remade Total Recall, and I love the Total Recall, Colin Farrell Total Recall. I love that movie, but
really
it didn't do well. Yeah, it didn't do well because people were so in love with Arnold's version that they were never going to give it a shot. But I thought the Total Recall, Colin Farrell's Total Recall was really good. But they remade. I don't know if that was a remake, but Jumanji, they kind of remade that. It's kind of a remake.
Yeah, it's
in
like
a weird whatever.
Sequel, requel, they call it. Like it happens later. Yeah,
it happens later, and they kind of give a shout out to, but whatever.
So I'm looking up. Ghost Rider. I want a good Ghost Rider movie.
Yes.
I have okay. Nobody steal my idea. I think the Ghost Rider.
Agents of Shield did a great Ghost Rider. Phenomenal Ghost Rider. But it was on a TV show that nobody watched. But nobody watched.
It's. I mean, it was popular for the end of broadcast television. Like everything was dying at the time. It was like in a weird transitionary period. So my Ghost Rider show is I want to make. This is my theory. If I had $1 billion, I would go to Marvel. I'd be like, let me run the Ghost Rider show, and I want to make it an anthology show that basically makes a movie, like a series of stories where the spirit of vengeance, which is the who the Ghost Rider embodies through different aspects of time, right? I want, like they did Predator, they did Prey with that movie.
They should do a sequel to that. To that.
But I want to see the spirit of vengeance manifested in like a flaming skull, like
samurai.
Indigenous, a fucking samurai, right? Like
there could be a flaming skull samurai. That would be fucking dope.
Riding a horse that's on fire, a fucking who fights that way. Then you have like something like an African tribesman during the British invasion or like killing Belgium. Belgium is a horrible, but have the spirit of vengeance come and seek vengeance against. Like, could you imagine like the different flavors you could give the spirit of vengeance, and then have it lead to a modern Ghost Rider? So you go back into the 70s and you get Johnny Blaze, and then you do the current issue. Like, so it all catches up with almost like an Avatar where all of the previous avatars you can connect to. The spirit of vengeance goes into Robbie Reyes, and Robbie Reyes is the new Ghost Rider who carries all of that with him, and to culminate in some way. That's what I would do with $1 billion. I would make a Ghost Rider anthology series through time, where the spirit of vengeance is embodied by different warriors who sell their soul to Mephisto, and then for whatever reason, then they become like the bitter of Mephisto's Vengeance. You know, like I would have that. That's my billionaire fantasy. That or
Sure.
another Spawn movie. I would do Spawn.
I think Spawn would be a good remake too.
Yeah,
I never saw the original.
the original with Michael Jai White.
Yeah, I mean, how many Spawns are there? There's only
There
one
was
Spawn.
the HBO animated series, which is arguably way better than the movie.
I just
so
think
good.
the original Spawn movie. I didn't know the character of Spawn,
Mhm.
so it wasn't a selling point to me, and I was young enough for that to matter to me, and I was also old enough to be like, it doesn't look great. It just doesn't look great.
It didn't look. That's the thing about that era of bad CG. I wonder again. There's just a lot of movies that get forgotten, and they go by the wayside. You know, like, but they deserved to have been given, or a chance to make a movie without like, studio interference. Like, could you imagine like the original concepts when you read like the original concepts for certain movies that you're just like, God damn it, that would have been so much better, you know? And then somebody, you know, inserts themselves, you know? I don't know. What would you if you had $1 billion, you have a blank check, right?
Now, do I get
Blank Check.
shout out to what?
There's a podcast called Blank Check where it's about like directors that they've been basically given a blank check to make their own movies, and it goes through their.
I was actually thinking about the Disney blank check movie where a child goes on a date and makes out with a fucking grown ass adult.
So fucking weird.
Such a weird thing.
Hindsight is it's bad.
But I don't even know how that got past even then. This was 1990s, bro. This wasn't like the fucking 70s. This was the 90s. And there's a child. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, to the listener, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Disney movie called Blank Check. Theatrical release Disney movie. This wasn't like at home Disney movie. And this kid gets his bike run over by a super rich guy. And we know he's super rich because he's in a limousine. And then that guy is a complete jerk to the kid and just hands him a blank check to be like, here, go buy yourself a new bike, and hands him a blank check. And this kid decides that it's a good idea because his bike got run over, because the guy was mean to him, the mean rich guy was mean to him, decides that it's okay to create bank fraud and frauds this guy from, I don't know, I forget the exact amount. Can you pull that up? How much the exact amount in blank check was? But it was like this absurd amount of money. And then it's basically a movie it's made for kids, about a kid exacting his revenge on mean adults who are rich, and then now he just has money to play with. And one of the things that he does with that money is take a woman out. I think it was his teacher, if I'm not mistaken.
No. Okay, this is so essentially what happens is that this kid there's already a money laundering situation happening through a bank, and then when the kid gets there's something where the kid gets interacts with a bank person in some way, and the guy's like, yeah, give me $1 million, and then so the kid just writes a check to himself for $1 million, and then the bank guy thinks it's part of this money laundering thing that he's supposed to be in on. So then he just is fulfilling his kid-like fantasies. The girl who's watching him is an FBI agent technically at the end, but spoiler alert for this movie. But
if I'm not mistaken, is she not the same actress from Dumb and Dumber?
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. I forget her name, but she was the same actress from
Karen Duffy. Yeah, she was a
Smoke Show, by the way.
She was the best. Yeah, she was super super hot. She was from The Real World or MTV. She was like an MTV VJ or something.
Yes.
Yeah. She was in Dumb and Dumber as one of the assassin.
Yeah. The would-be assassins. Yeah.
No, that's that. But that's going back to that Blank Check movie. That's literally back when $1 million was a lot of money. Like, it's crazy the stuff that the kid gets away with for $1 million, and yeah, it's wild. It was a briefcase of stolen cash in the care of a bank president to be laundered and retrieved by an associate the next day. But so it get through a little mishap and a little confusion. the money goes to the kid.
And hilarity ensues.
Yeah, and then
and he makes out with an adult.
He makes out with an adult. I want to see if it says the kissing controversy. The section under in the Wikipedia article, it says the appropriateness of a scene depicting a kiss between Preston and Shay, which is the little kid and the girl, near the end of the film has been called into question, particularly with Shay's job as an agent with the FBI. Brian Bonsall was 11 years old at the time of filming, while Karen Duffy was 31.
Fucking bonkers, dude. Bonkers.
Yeah, that's wild. It's like one of those things where, like, in hindsight, like, they put it on Netflix and people are like, what? What's going on here?
What?
But yeah, that's it. What is that? So going back to, like,
so just so FYI, that's on Disney Plus. But Don Carnage, not on Disney Plus.
Don Carnage cannot be put on Disney Plus. It's too much. The other podcast, Blank Check, is where they go through a director's complete filmography, episode to episode. They go through everything from, like, when a director becomes big enough where they've basically given a blank check in Hollywood to do whatever they want. That's what the podcast does. It's interesting. I've heard of, they have like a lot of really good episodes, but it's it depends on whether you like the people or not, but it's super specific. Blank Check, 90s film with questionable stuff in it. Do you have, so that's one of my comfort watches. I just like watching a kid.
Which is a weirder didn't age well. That or Howard the Duck. Where she's trying to actively seduce a duck.
Yes. I don't know if you watched this season of What If.
No, I have
Darcy
not yet.
And Howard the Duck, they have a kid together. There's a whole, like, Howard the Duck, I don't think it aged poorly at all, because they're just like, nope, that's what we want. That's the whole point. Howard the Duck fucks.
That aged weird. That was a weird. That movie itself was trash, but
that's the thing. It was bad from the beginning, right? Like, it was bad from the beginning. This certain things age.
Isn't it amazing? Spielberg was involved in that movie.
Yeah.
And when they ask him about his regret, you know what movie he says he regrets? Hook. Hook.
I wonder why.
He says that Hook. He said that he didn't know what he was doing when he was doing Hook. That he just never felt the groove. He just didn't feel it. He says that his kids watch it and his kids love watching it. And every time his kids watch it, now they're adults, but when they were children and they would watch it, they would rewatch it. He would just cringe every time. And he just felt that he never understood that movie. He just didn't get it. And he just doesn't, even now, he looks back at it and he goes, I just never got it. I just never knew what I was doing.
Some of the most beloved movies of all time, and the directors are like, garbage. I would have never. They made
the director's like, blech,
blech. Another one that I just thought of as being weird, because it was like of the 90s. Do you remember the movie Milk Money? With
I do remember the movie. I don't remember. I've never saw it, but I do remember the poster. I do remember it had Ed Harris. I do remember it had Melanie Griffith. Melanie Griffith,
yeah,
was it?
Melanie Griffith.
Yeah. So I remember the poster. I remember there was a dog. That was the same dog from, by the way, from Frasier in Milk Money. So I can tell you a lot about Milk Money except what happens, because I never saw the movie.
Yeah. No, but this is another one of those. Okay, like three boys, right? They're like 11 years old again. 11 years old. Travel from their suburb of Middleton to the city, bringing money with the hopes of seeing a woman naked. This is the whole point. They find a prostitute who's willing to show her breasts. So
as
this
children's
is
movies,
as
children's. Yeah, this is a plot. This is a plot that got greenlit by Hollywood.
Greenlit by Hollywood.
And no notes. The notes. There was no studio notes like, hey, why don't we make the kids 13, 15?
Who even that? But that's
yeah, but 15 is better than 11.
Yeah, that is all bad. Like, I mean, who? It was written by some guy named John Matson. I'm gonna click on it and be like,
that guy's went to Diddy parties.
That went to Diddy parties. He also co-writer of Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home. Who knows, man? But I'll tell you what, he sold this movie for $1.1 million.
Boof. He got a blank check. He got a blank check.
Oh my god, he got a blank check's worth of money for writing this thing. We gotta write movies, dude. This just feels like, at least back in the 90s, they were just
Man,
making
in the 90s, they were
anything.
just making children's porn. So
Jesus.
okay, so
Anyway.
then what happens? So then they hire a prostitute. Explain the movie. Finish the movie.
So they find a prostitute, whatever, that's willing to show her breasts. However, when they decide to head home, they find their bikes have been stolen, leaving them broke and stuck in the city. V, the prostitute, speaks with her drug dealing pimp, and another prostitute, and Haish is the other prostitute. Cash, someone has been skimming money. Oh, the pimp has been skimming money that he sends to a mob collector, who in turn steals. Bro, it's like all organized crime stuff.
So convoluted.
And then they were basically like, she's gonna escape from her life with these kids to Ed Harris's back to like, I think Ed Harris is the father.
Ed Harris is the father, and then he falls in love with Melanie Griffith.
He falls in love. And everyone in the town has never seen a hot woman in their life, and then they're all like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, wild. That
I was watching The Insider. I was watching The Insider the other night, and I don't know if you remember The Insider. No. Russell Crowe, Al Pacino, 1999, got nominated for Oscars. Russell Crowe was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. It's about he's
a whistleblower.
He's a whistleblower for the tobacco company. It's based on a true story. It really happened, right?
Yeah.
Or at least the basis of it really happened.
Sure.
One of Russell Crowe's kids in the movie is the Pepsi girl. Do you remember the Pepsi girl?
Pepsi girl? No.
So if you just Google 1990s Pepsi little girl commercial ads.
Yes.
Remember that she would do the voiceovers, and there would be like, and that was like, back then that was like crazy technology. Like, how do they get that voice in that little girl or whatever?
Yeah, they're like, wow,
and
it's crazy. Yeah.
Do you know who that little? I looked up that. So I'm watching the movie and I see the little girl. I go, oh my god, it's the girl from the Pepsi commercials. It's a little girl. So I Google her, right? Or I go to IMDb to like, what else has she done? And she stopped acting like in 2005 or something. So like she stopped acting early. She's like, she just wasn't doing a lot. She did a lot of commercials during the 90s, and she did that movie with, again, opposite Russell Crowe and Al Pacino. And then she kind of stopped doing it. Do you know who that is?
No.
That's Jesse Eisenberg's sister.
Oh, that makes sense. Then that makes sense. Yeah, you go nepo baby shit. Yeah.
I mean, but she was talented. She had talent. It wasn't this crazy.
She had her deep voice.
I don't like the phrase nepo baby because the phrase. I don't like the nepo baby phrase makes it seem as if it's undeserved or based on no talent. Like that to me would be nepo situation. But they got talent.
Here's
the thing. Colin Hanks is technically a nepo baby and has absolutely gotten some gigs because of his dad being Tom Hanks. But Colin Hanks is also a good actor in himself. So like that, it's a weird complaint.
Nepo baby is the same thing as saying inherited wealth, right? Like a rich person's kid has advantages doing literally anything that a poor kid does not. So
no, not necessarily, because look at Tom Hanks' other son.
But see, Tom Hanks' other son had the potential to not be a fuck up, but he was just like, I'm going to be who I'm going to be.
Everybody has a potential to be a fuck up or not be a fuck up. Just, you know.
But you have the potential to be a success you're already closer. You got a head start, right? So like if I inherit $300,000 from my dad to start my company, I'm already ahead of the game from somebody who's like saving their pennies, right? So if you have access, money provides access to success. But if you have access through another form of inherited like privilege,
but you also need some talent. But you also need talent, right? Like I'm not saying it's not helpful. I'm just saying you also, to me, when somebody says the phrase nepo baby,
look at Madam Web, look at Dakota Johnson.
She's Melanie garbage. Griffith, like that to me is the prime example of when to use the phrase nepo baby. Not to say that the literal term nepo baby to me Yes, nepo baby. You're a child of a successful person in that industry. Yes, you are a nepo baby. That's the
Yeah.
technical and literal term. But to me, when it's used as a slight, I think she should be the like one like they should have used that against Colin Hanks because Colin Hanks actually has talent.
Fair
But
enough. I
Dakota Johnson, I would use the phrase "Hey nepo baby" because she's hot garbage. She has no talent.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that her Melanie Griffith, Milk Money star, is her mom, and
Yes,
her dad is Don Johnson,
which
who
is
is
a
also
phenomenal actor. A phenomenal actor. You're just genetically, you should be a really good actor because Melanie Griffith isn't the best actress in it.
better. Yeah.
Melanie Griffith isn't a great actress, but she's not a bad actress by any right. Like I don't remember watching any movie where I go, "Fuck," and that movie would have been better had Melanie Griffith not been in it. Right. So Melanie Griffith is a decent actor, and
Let's go through it. All right.
Don Johnson is a fantastic actor.
Is he?
Combine those two genetics together, you should come out with a really good actress.
Fair
And
enough.
instead, you came out with garbage. Like, how did that happen?
I want to see. I want a list of. I present.
I
Nepo
mean, Drew
babies.
Barrymore. Drew Barrymore's a nepo baby
Yeah.
to the upteenth level. Her great grandfather was an actor. He actually her great grandfather actually invented the boom mic.
Who? Yeah. They were like, there's some people where they're like, the foundations of Hollywood are built on their
Drew
in their family
Barrymore.
tree. Yeah.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. Let's see. Share this tab instead. Here we go. Here's some examples of let's see, Maya Hawke. That is. Let's see. Do you know who her parents are? You know who she is?
I don't even know who she is.
She's in Stranger Things. She's gotten a couple other things since
Oh,
then.
she's the sister in Stranger Things, right?
She works with the guy in Steve in the ice cream place in Stranger Things, and then she's brought
But
into
isn't she the sister of one of the kids?
No, that's a different girl. But this
Okay.
girl is Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's kid,
Okay.
right?
Solid actors. Both of them solid actors.
Both of them solid actors. This person, I don't know who this is. Who's Allison
No.
Williams? She was in Get Out. That's the girl from Get Out. I don't know who that is. Maud Apatow.
Wait, but who are her parents? Who are her parents?
Uh,
The girl from Get Out. Who are her parents?
daughter of journalists Brian Williams and Jane Stoddard Williams. That's reaching.
Oh,
Come on, BuzzFeed.
whatever, that's-
This is
well.
bullshit. Maud Apatow, Judd Apatow's kid, which I feel like she's not famous enough to have called her Nepo baby yet. Like, what is she? She's not.
Yeah.
I don't watch Euphoria, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass.
Yeah. I don't watch Euphoria either because I don't want to watch
don't
children make out.
Kendall Jenner, she's not she's definitely a Nepo baby. She's famous because of the family. Haley Bieber, that's Stephen Baldwin, the daughter of Stephen Baldwin, niece of Alec Baldwin. Yeah, I guess. Lily Rose Depp, she's in the new Nosferatu movie, and that is Johnny Depp's daughter. Like all of these people, Zooey Deschanel, daughter of 6-time Academy Award nominated cinematographer. Interesting. Does that count?
She has a sister. That's her sister there.
Oh yeah, her sister's an actress too. Yeah, that's the thing is that the
Her sister was in Bones.
Yeah, imagine like that's the thing is that once you get to a certain point of access, people will always give you the benefit of the doubt to put you in some random thing. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're just present. You're just there. You know how many?
Yeah, but you have to
actors
like that's
appeal
what I'm
for that
saying.
shit?
Like, so you may get like the door open for you, but you still have to accomplish something, right? Like,
dude, Dakota Johnson, Madam
she's
Web
the
herself.
only one. She's the only one, man. Like,
She's
but
done
here's the
good
reason.
for herself.
Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why Dakota Johnson kept getting got Madam Web. I would say she was in the Grey movies, and the Grey movies made billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So whether or not she was awful in those movies, by the way, I saw 2 of them. She was hot trash in those movies too. But the writing wasn't good. The fucking script wasn't good. I mean, nothing was good in that movie. Everybody sucked in that movie. Those whole movies are garbage. But they grossed billions of dollars. But they made a ton of money. So if you're a studio and you're like, I'm gonna cast Madam Web, why not maybe she'll bring over the people who watch the shitty Grey movies to watch a shitty Spider-Man movie.
Wait. Let's just say this: the Sony Spider-Man Spider-Verse has yet to do good once. So I don't want to blame Dakota Johnson.
I disagree,
for
man.
that.
I like Venom. I like the Venom movie. I thought that was a good movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Venom. But Madam Web was by far the worst movie I've ever seen. This is not hyperbole. That is the worst movie I have ever seen.
I watched the first 5 minutes of, or the first, I'd say 20 minutes of Craven, and stiff competition for Madam Web.
I actually had
so bad.
I had Jeff tell me yesterday, you know what's not bad? You know what's not so bad? Craven. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
it was fine.
Jeff is wrong. he is wrong. You know what? I'm sorry. I let you get to the end of the sentence, but also wrong, incorrect.
But also, you haven't seen the movie.
I've finished it. I can't get.
You haven't seen the movie. You can't really. You can't.
The first 20 minutes of Craven are
hottest
garbage.
Madam Web, really hot garbage, and I've seen the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh man, you sat through the whole thing.
Did you watch Madam Web?
I can't get through the whole thing. I can't. I started, and it's like the word. Yeah. I'd rather not waste my time. Look at it this way. We're talking about. We keep circling around the comfort watch idea. We have not said any of our comfort watches because the thing is that I ran out of fucks to give in terms of time for something that I'm not enjoying. I'm not gonna even those the stressful things, I know I'm gonna feel bad watching it, or something that gives me is I'm watching
Afterlife, like Afterlife,
yeah, something like that. That that you're gonna get wrecked a little bit.
Afterlife is a tough watch, man. That's brutal. Do not binge Afterwatch, please. Take it slow.
Yeah.
Take it.
There's a lot to unpack in those things, and but they exercise a different part of your brain, right? There's certain things that are just but this sucks. There's a show that I'm watching now called American Primeval, which is super good, but it's one of those where you watch one episode and you're like, okay, I'm just going to put that down and I'm going to go watch cartoons or something, because it is heavy. It is intense. So the idea that I'm going to spend time watching something I already am this, it's not even hard to watch because of the content. It's because it feels like this is stupid, this is bad. I'm just not gonna waste my time watching bad things anymore. You know what I mean? It's not.
I like to watch the bad things through because I want to be able to say I saw the whole thing and this is garbage.
I want to
be able, and then I want to be, and I get to the point. In Madam Web, I was very, very close to pulling out. But I got to the point on Madam Web where I was like, I want to finish watching this movie because I'm now going to start just making fun of it. Now, actively, while watching it for the first time, I went from let's give this a shot to what the fuck is happening to, oh my God, let's point and laugh.
Right. I would watch Madam Web with you. I would watch Craven together, on a date if and would hold hands. And
we have to.
You put popcorn in my lap. I would do that, but I would not watch it for the sake of experiencing it as a film. The only movie I've ever walked out of in my life in the theater. Have you ever walked out of a movie in the movie theater?
Home Fries.
That's the one with Luke Wilson.
Wilson and Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. 1998. Rotten Tomatoes 31%.
That's 31% too much.
Too much.
Too much. I don't know what those 31% were thinking, but it's hot trash. Hot garbage. But then again, I was 16 years old, so
yeah.
I don't know.
The only movie I've ever walked out of in the theaters is the year 2000 movie Dungeons and Dragons, where ironically enough, I was what has now become a big part of my life, playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. I walked out of that movie. That movie was straight trash. There's
what movie I didn't. You know what movie I did not leave, and I don't watch it. What's the worst movie that you watch in theaters?
worst
that you
movie I've
watched the whole
watched
way
in
through that
the whole way in
didn't leave?
theaters.
I saw Street Fighter, and I saw Double Dragon in theaters.
Double Dragon, what a pile of shit that was. For sure, I had to have sat through some of
Alyssa
that trash.
Milano, bro. Alyssa Milano.
I know, you were in love. The things you do for love. I'm trying to think of like there had to have been. I'm trying to think of like during the late '90s, my high school era. I was obsessed with the movies, and I would be there like theater hopping at the movie theater behind my friend's house.
So would I, yeah.
So who knows?
I saw the big hit. I saw the big hit in theaters.
That movie's bad. What's
Mark Wahlberg? That was yeah. I got a handy in that movie. I love that movie.
That's how you remember it.
That's how I remember that movie. I saw it at Miami Dollar Theater, and I got a hand job in that theater in that movie, and I was like, I love this movie. This movie's amazing.
Yeah, congratulations. There should be like, have you gotten a hand job to this movie? And then it's like a ranking. Like it's like, yes, this much is. It's like, why do you love this movie so much? And then you're like you're watching it like
Entrapment.
as an old man in the retirement home.
My first blowjob I got during Entrapment.
Do you not have like a car? It has to be in a movie theater?
No, it wasn't in a movie theater. That wasn't in a movie theater. That wasn't in a movie theater. That was at the girl's house. But it was still my first. It wasn't a theater. It wasn't a theater.
I think you
I've never gotten that.
Man.
I've never.
Just like you walk into a movie theater and all of a sudden you're just like.
No, I've never gotten a blowjob. I've never gotten a BJ at a movie theater. But it was at her house. It was at her house, and we were watching Entrapment.
What movie are we gonna watch in the movie theater? What are we buying tickets to? You're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we watch. I just need to be in there right now.
Yeah. What's the movie that starts right now and lasts the longest?
Oh man, I'm sorry, Stu. The only movie starting right now and is 3 hours long is Schindler's List, and he's like, "That'll do. That'll work.
That'll work."
That's a Simpsons Seinfeld episode.
Seinfeld episode. That's right. That's a Seinfeld episode. Oh, right. Man.
Yeah. Just to say the thing, I will give you my Mount Rushmore of comfort watches. You want to do Mount Rushmore real quick?
Sure. TV shows?
Of comfort watches. It can be a TV show or a movie. I mean, it could be anything. Because it's something that, so how do we define it, right? Like a comfort watch is something that you revisit. It has to be something that you come back to, right? Like I've seen something multiple times, but it's not out of comfort. It's more like there's certain things that when I'm down or need to lift myself out of something, or if I'm stressed or something, it like calms me down or brings me up or whatever. And it's more, I've used it as a tool more than once, right? Like that's my criteria for the mountain. I'll say one, you say one. We'll go back and forth. One of my go-tos is Princess Bride. I've watched that movie a fair number of times, and I'd have to say that is a comfort watch for me, just because of like, I don't know. There's something about the vibe of it that it's like, you see that it's like a set, and you see that it's phony, and you see that, but everybody feels like everything feels like it's having a good time, and it's just like very comforting to me, especially the grandfather reading to the kid parts where they're like, it like sets the tone to be very comforting. So that's my first one.
Mine would be Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie Does Dallas.
No, I'm kidding.
Nope, I'm writing it down.
I just love watching her, just bang guy after guy. And as she travels towards Dallas, she wants to get, to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. My number one with a bullet is The Office. I mean, that to me is.
Oh, really?
Like, I rewatched The Office. I haven't actually rewatched The Office in like 2 years because I rewatched it so often in the 10 years prior. I told myself like a year and a half ago, I was like, hey, you just need to relax. Like, just watch something else. Like, you just, So, The Office. I love The Office. I love every season of The Office, even when Michael leaves. I can make an argument that those are better seasons, but I know I stand alone in
There's
that
a lot of
mountain.
people. Yeah, that I wouldn't say that they're better, but I'm saying that they're not bad. There's good in all of those. And there's something good. Do you go back and start over, or do you just drop in?
Whatever happens, it's just like I don't even think about it. I just put it on.
If he
It's just
dies,
like,
he dies.
sometimes sometimes I'll go through the list and I'll just randomly select and then pop it in and thing. I don't like season one. If I'm going to be honest about The Office, I think season one is the weakest one. I tell people this all the time. That's a show that I tried watching when it was like in its third or fourth season. I tried to watch season one. It was so bad that I didn't want to keep on, and it stopped me from watching for like another year. And then I'm like, all right. And then everybody just kept telling me just plow through the first season. And what I tell people now who are not fans of The Office, I'm like, start at season 2. You're fine. You could start at season 2. In season 2, they will do a recap, and you will be fine. You will not have missed anything. You'll be fine.
You'll be good.
Yeah.
The Office was at the time. I get to, like, now that I get like too much secondhand embarrassment from The Office to watch it as a comfort watch. But every time, like occasionally, you know how like when I lost you. You know how like when the clips will show would have shown up on like my TikTok or like YouTube, where I've watched Moneyball that way. I've watched Moneyball like 5 times, and like every so often just through YouTube clips. Are you there, Nery? Did I lose you? Uh-oh. Something happened. Anyway. Well, to go with my next comfort watch, let's see. Is Nery alive? What happened? The boat hit an iceberg. Let's see. Are you alive? Question mark. Let's see. See what's happening. Nery Saenz has disappeared. Yeah, he'll log back in. If you watch The Office, there we go. Okay, you're alive. I thought.
Yeah. Sorry,
I was so worried.
I was because I'm on my phone. My wife called me, and I declined the call. And then it just was like it was too much information for the phone to process. Like I can't do everything. I can't do it.
You expect me to do 2 things at once?
You streaming? You turn down a call? Well, I can't do this anymore.
What's happening? So we were talking about the comfort when you had to watch The Office. To put a TV show on, there's one that I literally now I'm going back to, but I go back to pretty often. And this is, I'm going to be alone in this. No one's, I hope people have heard about this, but it is, I will say Cosmos, Carl Sagan's Cosmos first. And then maybe it's a science thing that it talks about like the world and space. And it gives me comfort to know that at some point we knew more, and we were like opening our minds to science and having real discussions about where we come from and how to get out into space and what the world is like. I like the new ones with Neil deGrasse Tyson, but the ones I go back to and I watch it with all of their weird makeup and fake mustaches is like the 1980 PBS TV series Cosmos. That is 100% a comfort watch to me, especially now to remind myself that science was at one point an important thing to us. Now, probably not. Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever watched it?
I've heard of it. I just never watched it because it has to do with science.
The new one is great. You should watch it. It was produced by Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy, hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson. It is legit amazing. In terms of like
I've been watching and sharing on my Facebook because I'm old. Clips of what it seems like a podcast with Neil and his co-host and his co-host. Yeah. So I watched like 12-minute clips of that, and I'm like, this is great. And then I'll share those like 12-minute clips, those 8-minute clips. I'll share that, but I never watched Cosmos.
No, it's definitely soothing parts of my brain, especially in the current climate. But it has been for years. A fixed point in reality that is like, yes, okay, science is real. All right, I can move forward. I'm not crazy. Science is real.
My second one would be you know what? I was gonna say Parks and Rec, but I haven't watched that show. I took a break from that. That was another one where I watched so intensely, so often, so many times for a good 5-6 years in a row that I just said, you just relax. You know, so my new one in the last 2 years has been the Goldbergs. So I watch a lot of the Goldbergs.
Oh yeah, you love that show. I've never seen any of it.
Love that show. Oh, that show's great. Until it's not.
Oh, it drops off.
There's a point in that show. Oh my goodness, that last season, the second to last season was not good, and the last season was very difficult to watch, especially if you watch from the beginning. You go, what the fuck is this? There's like,
really?
And then I didn't realize this. The second to last season was not good, but it was like doable. It was like fine, whatever. It just felt like they're kind of mailing it in, and then the last season was so bad, and then I looked it up. I had to look it up during me watching the last season. I had to look it up, and it turns out that the showrunner Adam F. Goldberg left the show 2 years before it ended, and I'm like, oh, it's so bad. Yeah, but there's a clear, distinct. There's like, hey, this is not good. There's good, and then there's this.
There's good, and then there's this. That you literally will feel the pivot, like
yeah. But I didn't even know the pivot. I didn't even know there was a pivot. I didn't even know. And then when there was a pivot, I was like, this feels weird. Why does this feel weird? Like it was that much of a pivot that I had to Google, why is there a pivot? And it turns out,
like, what happened?
Yeah, it's real bad.
Wow. That's your number two.
The last season got so bad that the beginning of the show with the theme music, it would be him. It would be like, do the theme music thing, and then they put in the VHS tape, and the VHS tape would say Adam F. Goldberg, created by Adam F. Goldberg, and he would put that in. And the last season was so bad that he asked his name to be taken off of that. So the last season, when they're putting in the VHS, the tape just says the Goldbergs. It no longer says Adam F. Goldberg. It was that bad that he was like, take my name off of this shit.
Yeah, like don't include me in this bullshit.
Yeah, don't include me in this
motherfucking mouth.
Which, by the way, means that he got less money. But that's how much it sucked that he was like, I don't care about the money. Take my name off the fucking.
Wow, that's wild. I want to say I want to give it a chance, but it's hard.
It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. Like when the first 5 seasons are like just pure fucking comedy, sitcom going. If you like sitcoms, you have to like sitcoms. And I'm talking about old school, not looking at the camera, not The Office, not Parks and Rec. I'm talking about like old school, not Modern Family, just old school sitcoms. If you like that, which I am a huge fan of, the Goldbergs is at the top of its game. It's fucking great. Until it's not.
Now these are comfort watches. They're not like repeat. I love these things. I watch them again. These are to make your soul feel good. Like these are things to.
To me, these are interchangeable things. I watch these things over and over again because I feel good.
No, there's sometimes where there's certain. Everybody's got your mountain. Everybody's got their mountain. I'm trying to, because there's a lot of stuff I like. I like rewatching things, right? Like I've rewatched Star Wars a bunch of times. I rewatched Back to the Future, but I don't rewatch them when I'm sad. Or when I'm down. So when I'm down, I want to watch. It's usually not a TV show. I want to say it's not like TV shows. I've watched Scrubs a bunch of times because I like Scrubs, but I wouldn't say I watch.
I don't like Scrubs. That's another one I couldn't get into. I tried watching Scrubs. I tried watching the first like 3 or 4 episodes multiple times, and I'm just like, I can't get into this show.
That gets better later. Yeah. So one of them, I want to say that when I'm down, I watch my number 3, I'll say, is The Rocketeer. I love The Rocketeer. We've talked about this. I love the style of it. I love the visuals of it. I love that it's a guy flying around with a jetpack. I was obsessed with that as a kid. And it's also like this old Hollywood kind of glamour. and Jennifer Connelly's in it, and then also there's fighting Nazis. Again, relevant.
We weren't making them part of the cabinet. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, when we weren't including them in our bureaucracy. But the idea that like even the gangsters, like the mafiosos, were like, I may be a gangster and a criminal, but I'm an American. And then they start fucking shooting Nazis. And I was like, yes. I love The Rocketeer. That is a very comforting movie to me. Feels very old Hollywood, very cool. I like that. That's one of my favorites. You are not a Rocketeer fan. You can blah if you want. I'm done.
No, I like The Rocketeer.
I like The Rocketeer.
Trying to
remember what the drama was with The Rocketeer.
I thought the movie was super cheesy. Growing up as a kid, I thought the movie was cheesy, and I dismissed it multiple times for years because it was super cheesy. Like it was like on a other level cheesy. And I thought it was. I just didn't like it. And then maybe 6-7 years ago, I gave it another rewatch because I was like, I'll give it a rewatch, and then I liked it, and it's still cheesy, but it's with the point of being cheesy. Like it's not. It wasn't trying to. It wasn't trying to be cool, and then it came out cheesy. They were going for cheesy. They were going for 1920s era, and I like the movie. I did enjoy the movie. It just didn't hit the same. I will say another movie that I try to give a chance to, just like that, in the vein of The Rocketeer, was Dick Tracy, and it's still garbage. I can't.
Dick Tracy, I do not like. Dick Tracy is a discomfort watch. I do not want to watch that movie.
Yeah, it was. But again, as a kid, I felt the same feeling for The Rocketeer as Dick Tracy. Like where the marketing was so good, I had the Dick Tracy T-shirt. I bought the Dick Tracy. I wanted the Dick Tracy watch. Right. All of these things. The marketing was so good, and then you watch the movie, and you're like, this is shit. And I was like that with The Rocketeer. I'm like, the idea of The Rocketeer, again, growing up as a kid, the idea of The Rocketeer is cool. The backpack, the flying backpack, that's cool. But the movie was cheesy. It was just cheesy. And then I rewatched it again 6-7 years ago as an adult, and I'm like, oh, this is okay. I like it now. I did like it. And then, by the way, from The Office, she's in it. What's her name from The Office is in it?
Melora Hardin, Jan. She's the one that sings.
She's Jan. She's Jan.
She's Jan Levinson.
Jan Levinson Johnson. Oh, no more
Gould.
Johnson.
Jan Levinson Gould, and he's like, no, just Jan Levinson, and then he's like, no Gould. What's this?
Oh, no Gould. Anyways, so that's yeah, I like the Rocketeer. I wouldn't bless the Rocketeer. As you get older, you give things more. That's what I'm saying. You give things a chance. You go, I didn't like it then. I didn't like it as a kid. Like, let me find out. And I've done that many times. One of my favorite movies I watched 4 times in theaters and did not like it. I wasn't garbage. I was like, I don't really like it. And then like 2 years later, after it came out, I rewatched it again, and I was like, oh, this is excellent. It's really, really good.
So
I'm able to do that. By the way, the movie Rogue One.
Oh wow! You saw that movie 4 times in theaters, and you were like, "What is
4
this
times
trash?
in theaters?" No, it wasn't trash. It was fine.
Why'd you watch
like
it 4
I was
times
having this conversation. I was twice opening weekend. I was in San Diego, but not San Diego, San Jose, and I watched it twice. One of them on one of the world's largest screens. It was at the planetarium, and the whole movie was like it was really
awesome.
Yeah. That's how I saw it, and then I was like, okay, but I just couldn't get over the fact that there were no Jedis. I'm like, I need Jedis in my fucking Star Wars movies. This is not really like It's so to me it was just okay. It wasn't bad. I never thought it was bad, but it was just okay. I never got the hype. But I wanted to be included in the hype. And then like 2 years later, I was like, you know what, Nery, just watch it, even though there's no Jedi. It's just a movie. Just watch a movie without Jedi. Yeah. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, this movie, it's a fucking really good war movie. So I'm like, all right. Yeah. So I'm able to take myself out. I'm able to talk myself into like, which is why I watched the whole Madam Web movie, because I was Web. I want to watch the whole thing to be able to say I gave this shit a chance.
Sure.
I went in there.
Maybe it'll pull it out in the last 15 minutes.
Clear eyes. Clear eyes, full hearts. Still have to watch Madam Web, and then
clear eyes, full hearts. She when she was died in the Amazon.
I mean, you're defining, yeah.
Are you good?
you're defining comfort watch differently than I am. I just like to
Sure.
whatever watch. If I rewatch something a lot, it makes me feel good. You're doing it as like I'm having a bad day. I'm gonna watch this movie or I'm gonna watch this show, and
I'm
I don't think I
actively
do that.
choosing things like that. Yeah.
I yeah, I don't do that. If I have a bad day, I don't actively go towards. There's not something that I watch when I'm like, man, today was a hard day or a tough day. Let me go watch. I don't do that. I rewatch things that make me feel good. I will say this: there are two movies, and I guess these would be my last two picks. But there are two movies that I rewatch. That's not true. There's more than two, but there are two movies that I've rewatched a lot, and I just like watching them again over and over again. And one of them is Endgame, but only from when the portals open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Is that going to be is that your third on your mountain? Yeah.
No, because it's not a full movie. It's not a full movie. But it's not even from the portals it's not when the portals open. It's when Thanos comes in.
Yes. Yeah,
like so exactly. When they went there, so it's just that thing. So it's not exactly when the portals. It's because again, the final battle was like the last hour and a half of the movie. So it's not exactly when the portals open. There's still like a good 40 minutes between Thanos showing up and then the portals opening. But from that moment on, like the second half of that movie, I'm just like, I'll rewatch that shit over and over and over again. And here's the movie.
My comfort watch is the YouTube video of the audiences reacting to the last hour of Endgame.
One of my favorite reactions that I experienced in theaters was the first Transformers movie, where Optimus Prime said, my name is Optimus Prime, and the fucking theater was like, it was just like this, it was just this huge nerdgasm where I was like, it was the first time I had experienced cheering in a movie theater. I had never experienced cheering in a movie theater before. I was like, I'm with my people. We all get it. This is amazing. Like that was, it was bonkers.
We're all in this together.
But I would say,
what's your number 3?
Yeah, we're all in this together. So my number 3 would be, I'm going to go to movies now just because I did 2 shows that I rewatch all the time. But again, none of my criteria fits your criteria. Like if I'm having a bad day, I am not thinking about putting on anything. There's nothing that's going to make me feel better that I'm watching. If I'm having a bad day, I just like these things that I like a lot. So I watch Men of Steel quite often. I watch Men of Steel anywhere between 1 to 2 times a year. I'll watch Men of Steel. And
when you dropped out there, I was talking about how I've watched, like, if we're talking about comfort watches or just like I don't know if the algorithm feeds it to me, but like chunks of Moneyball on YouTube. I've watched like chunks of movies. You know what I'm talking about? That's amazing.
I've seen Moneyball 1 time. That's it. That's the only time. And it was a good movie, but I never go, let me go back to watch this shit.
No. But it's like, it's fed to, like, it's in my suggested, my like recommended, where it'll, or like that movie Trading Day, or what, I forget what it's called. The one with Kevin Costner, where he's like a GM of the Cleveland Browns. Draft Day. There's chunks of that movie. And it's just like I've watched so many movies in clips. The movie Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, like they're just shows like little clips of movies, and it gets fed to me, and Man of Steel. There's always chunks of Man of Steel that are like, I guess, like people go back to certain scenes, the one where he learns to fly, or he finally starts doing that with the suit on, and he starts doing he channels the energy on his and he flies.
He learns to fly. Yeah,
the whole scene where he gets questioned in the thing and he goes clink and he breaks the handcuffs in the where he's like, I can see the roll of wintergreen lifesavers in your pocket. That scene pops up on my YouTube all the time, and I get it. Those scenes are very comforting. It's good Superman. Stuff.
Yeah. But by the way, him flying I love the fact that the scene of him learning to fly was copied by other movies that were much more appreciated than Man of Steel. It's easily the 2 that come to mind are the Star Wars one where Rey learns to use the Force and then the pebbles start shaking, and I'm like, this is almost a shot for shot remake of fucking Man of Steel, which is hilarious to me. Because she's learning to use the Force, and then the camera goes up, and the stones on the floor are trembling, whatever. And then the other one, the moment I'm watching this for the first time, I'm like, holy shit, this is just like Man of Steel. And then I told it to Watkins, and Watkins goes, actually, yes, you're right. The creator is a huge fan of Man of Steel and gave credit to where he got inspiration from was X-Men 97 when Storm is flying. And I'm like, this is fucking Man of Steel, where she's going and she like that whole thing in that the creator was gave a verbal like nod. He said that I was like, oh, okay, there you go. So Man of Steel
that's a good
is my number 3.
Man of Steel. Yeah, that I like. That movie has a lot of good Supermaning in it. You know, like there's moments in Superman Returns that that I love. We've talked about it before.
Oh like my god, the machine gun part with the eye. Fuck the airplane. Catching the airplane. Oh, bro, dude, that scene was bonkers, man.
It's so good. Man of Steel is a great choice. I don't like that movie as a whole, but watching Superman be Superman is such a comforting. Like I love it. I love watching Superman be Superman.
Yeah.
And it's always a question of like, why are we not letting Superman be Superman? That's the whole point of I love it. I love watching that aspect, especially when he like lands when in Superman Returns, because it's kind of like where he catches the thing, lands it in the middle of a baseball stadium, and then he's like, don't let this put you off flying. Statistically, it's still the safest form of travel. I'm like, that's some Superman ass shit. You know, like that is great classic Superman stuff. So watching Superman be Superman is up there. That's solid. That's a good choice. I like that one. Man of Steel. I'm gonna go. This is my fourth. My fourth one is something I've probably watched a million times. I love it for a lot of different reasons at different points in my life, from the first time I watched it to now, and I go back to it whenever I feel, different times in my life I've taken different things from it. Is the movie Swingers? Speaking of last episode, Jon Favreau, that movie Swingers I've watched a lot. I've gone to it with my single days. It's about a guy named Mike trying to make it as a comedian, being single.
I think I've watched that movie once. I think
great.
I've done that movie. I've watched the movie once.
But again, it's like,
you know why? I don't like. You know what turns me off about that movie is I feel the anxiousness of him leaving all those messages on the answering machine, and the awkwardness.
Love that thing.
The awkwardness of that. The secondhand embarrassment that I get from watching that. Whenever that movie comes up, that's the first and only thing that comes up, the first and only scene that comes up, and I don't like that feeling. I'm like, I don't like this feeling, and so every time I thought about, hey, maybe I'll go back and rewatch it, I'm like, I don't want to go through that again. That secondhand embarrassment is real. I'm like, I don't want to feel that.
Yeah, where he there's because it's a real thing where you've left a message and it cuts off, and you're like, I wonder if they got the last number of that. If they don't get the full number, they won't be able to call. I'll just call back. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much in that.
And then he starts getting angry. He's like, oh, you think you're better? Like, it's just, oh man, it's just so bad. You know what it feels like?
He's like, I don't think this is going to work. And then she calls him back. He answers and he's like, hey, have you been there the whole time?
No, she goes, I got your messages. Don't call me again. But you know what? That feeling reminds me of. That feeling reminds me of in the dinner party episode of The Office.
Yes.
Where everybody feels that. I don't feel that. I go, yeah, this is good. This is great comedy. I love that episode. But everybody gets that secondhand embarrassment, and that's how I feel about Swingers. I just think about that scene. I'm like, I can't watch this movie. If we could edit this out, it would be great, because I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel embarrassed for this guy.
It's like it hurts. It hurts my soul.
Yeah, it's cringy. It's cringy. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is, if I could recite to you the "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius" part so often. Yeah. So I just watch that movie so often, and I watch the director's cut, which, by the way, is so much better. And it's so good. I love Ridley Scott because every time he makes a movie, there's always a director's cut. There's like, oh,
Yeah, like he's like,
yeah.
here's the one that I would have put out, but they wouldn't let me. Yeah.
No, but it's always so funny. There was a director who like kind of gave him like a fucking, shade in the media where he says, everybody out of us filmmakers get one shot at making a movie. Why does Ridley get 3 or 4 shots?
I mean,
Ridley Scott gets like 3 of like. Have you seen how many different versions of what's the one?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. How many different
Yeah,
versions
yeah,
of
yeah.
Blade Runner? It's like, oh my God, it's so funny to me. But he does that with all his movies. He just,
Yeah, yeah.
Hey man, it's like a Ridley Scott. The fuck?
Yeah, I just googled Ridley Scott, and I started typing D, and it said director's cuts, and it was like all of Ridley Scott's director's cuts. So like Kingdom of Heaven's director's cut is almost an entirely
way,
different movie.
That's the one I was gonna tell you. I was gonna say, Ridley Scott's all his director's cuts are better than the original, all of them, right?
Yeah.
That I've seen. And Kingdom of Heaven is almost an entirely different film, and it's far superior. Like not even fucking close. Like it's so much. Like I was like, yes, this is the movie that we should have watched. This is great. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna add it. I've not put, what's it called? Kingdom of Heaven.
Kingdom of Heaven. It's in the family share.
Oh, okay. The director's cut.
Yeah, come on, man.
I'll put it up for family share. The irony is that like you always wonder, like this goes back to the beginning of the episode with the billionaire fantasies of like, even the directors have their billionaire fantasies of like, this is what I would have made if they would have let me, you know what I mean? Like
right.
They get the chance to do it after the fact. I wonder, like that is a good question. I wonder which like of director's cuts of like other things are like better. Someone here is this is on Reddit.
Zack
I personally
Snyder.
prefer there's a whole Zack Snyder. Someone said the studio cut of Alien is better than the Ridley Scott version, but I guess that's,
I don't think I've ever seen that. In all fairness, in all honesty, I don't think I've ever seen the director's cut of Alien. So that's that would be a fair. I've never seen. But Alien is a different. So there's certain movies that are so iconic. So we watch them, right? So I wonder how much of that is. This is not the movie that I'm used to because I've seen the iconic Alien theatrical version a million. I don't know, but I've never seen I didn't even know there was a director's cut. I should have guessed because it's Ridley Scott, but I've never. I didn't even know. Yeah.
I think. Oh, do you know the movie Legend, the Tom Cruise one, a fantasy fairy legend that he did?
Yeah. It's not a good movie. That theatrical cut is not a good movie.
Yeah, I think that there's a director's cut of that people say that it's like better. It's a completely different movie and it has a different soundtrack.
So what happened I read up on Legend because I watched Legend late. I remember I was a kid watching it, bits and pieces, but I just remember the devil, right? As a kid. And then like a few years ago, I was like, I'm gonna go watch Legend, and I watched it, and I'm like, this movie isn't good. Why is this movie not good? Because first of all, it's Ridley Scott's first movie, so whatever, take that with a grain of salt. And then I read up on it, and apparently there was so much studio interference with that movie that because he was a first-time director and he was blah blah blah. So it's not. There was a lot of shit going on back in the behind the scenes. So I did not know that there was a director's cut, but I'm glad there is because he deserves it. Because that movie was not good. Like here's why I think he gets so many chances at a director's cut is because director's cuts are basically like, hey, we need this movie to be 2 hours long. And Ridley's like, but I shot so much footage. And I think nowadays, I think he has a track history of like, the studio's like, Ridley, just do your director's cut and we'll release it on digital format. But theater.
Yes.
Just
do whatever you're gonna do, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That's a good. I mean, all of these are solid. Where's my list of things? So for my comfort watches, if I were to like schedule or what is it, book a theater like a run of movies, it would be Princess Bride, Carl Sagan's Cosmos, The Rocketeer, and Swingers. And yours would be The Office, The Goldbergs, Man of Steel, and Gladiator.
Yeah.
which I really think defines us as like people. Do you see like how different our mountains are? I think that's so interesting. That's so funny. If you're watching this in the future, go ahead and send us your comfort watches. You can send them to
WuBroPod@gmail.com.
WuBroPod@gmail.com. You can send it there. And we will talk about it. You can follow us at WuBroPod on all social media platforms.
Including TikTok.
Including TikTok, technically.
Because TikTok went away for 27 minutes.
For like an hour, like a couple hours, and then got saved.
Brittany Brave tweeted something that was so funny. Like, I've held my pee longer than TikTok was banned.
I mean, what a scam! What a propaganda! Like everything,
such a propaganda machine.
Phony baloney bullshit. It is wild,
so
wild.
By the way, CapCut just got back. At the time of this recording, just came back today. CapCut was gone.
Oh,
CapCut was gone for like 4 days, and it came back now.
I deleted TikTok off my phone, and then I couldn't get it back from the App Store. But it still works on my iPad. I wonder if, let me see if it's back. TikTok is back in the American App Store. Nope, it's still off. TikTok and other ByteDance apps are you saying it wasn't working, or so you couldn't use your CapCut to edit your videos?
It gave the same message. You're in the US law prohibits blah blah. Now the welcome back message did not mention Donald Trump.
Okay. What a scam.
So the welcome back from CapCut, the welcome back message says we're now up and running in the US. Thank you, whatever, blah blah. You're good to go. It was very short and sweet. Boom,
Thanks to nobody.
It wasn't this licking. It wasn't the licking the boots. It wasn't the licking the boots that TikTok gave. Yeah.
Anyway, enough about that. The world is on fire. We're watching things to comfort ourselves. You're watching the What's Up Bro podcast to sit back and enjoy our hot, actually, I would say our warm takes today. Our warm, comforting, hot cup of tea with a little blanket. Our comforting takes today. Watching our comfort shows, which apparently are a weird form of psychotherapy where we're learning about ourselves. The Princess Bride, Cosmos, Rocketeer Swingers. What does that say about me? Interesting. Nery, is there anything you'd like to promote before we go?
I have a show at the Dania Improv, me and Carlos Hernandez, and there's a special guest pending at the Dania Improv, February 23rd. Get your tickets. It's going to be an improv hybrid show. So Carlos is gonna do his stand-up. I'm gonna do my stand-up, and then both of us are gonna get on stage with microphones, and we're gonna do some ad-libbing, or we're gonna talk to the audience. We're gonna have some questions that you're gonna go. The audience members are gonna have like a QR code to go ahead, and it's gonna be like, what's the worst date you've ever been on, or what's the worst advice you've ever had, or blah 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 blah. And then we will talk about those topics. The what?
It's a crowd work machine.
Crowd work machine, right? So then so it's an improv hybrid show. Dania Improv, February 23rd. For those of you who don't know where Dania is, it's like Fort Lauderdale. Just say Fort Lauderdale is fine.
Yeah. Just follow you at Nery Saenz, where they can
at Nery Saenz. The website is whatwashisname.com, and you can get tickets on my website, or you can get tickets at daniaimprov.com.
That's right. You can follow me at Mike Mercadal. You can follow at Zeros on Heroes, the other podcast I'm doing with co-host Will Watkins, where we talk about physical fitness and rethinking gym culture, because it's so much more supportive than people portray it as, and it's super fun. But it also, if you improve one aspect of your life, other areas of your life also improved. And we're talking about all of that in terms of our body improving our mind, and our mind improving our communities and relationships out in the world. So I do that. We do that every Sunday. Me and Will Watkins at Mike Mercadal for all of the things, at Zeros on Heroes to see that as well on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. Nery, we're good to go. I think good job today. Good work. I think we can.
Good job.
We've earned our Rocketeer and Man of Steel rewatches today. I think we've done a good job.
All right. Thank you guys for checking us out. That's how winning is done.